Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode back of the Unwatched Pile. I'm Stephen Billings, and of course, as always with me is the other guy. I'm not making a blank man reference. Andrew Cabral, how you doing, man?
How you doing? I'm doing good. Doing good. I'll tell you. Yeah, we're bringing this back, but I also feel like it's a bit of a reboot, relaunch,
It kind of
restart
is.
for people who haven't seen it in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
We only did 2 episodes, so it's not like it was a whole big
It
thing.
was a big deal.
So this is, if anything, this is a bit of a restart.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. I mean, when we started doing this, initially, I think we did was it 2 or 3 movies? I think it was 2 movies, and each person, and we didn't even have a guest. I don't think or no, it was just me and you. And so we
Right.
just both had 2 movies that we were watching from our collections that were first time watches, and then we would talk about them, and that was the whole show. And it wasn't anything special, but we just got too busy, and
Well,
with time,
yeah, it coincided with certain family things with you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
baby came,
yeah,
yeah,
the baby came
no,
right after the second episode. So
yeah,
obviously, it put a whole big, we had to put something
kibosh,
aside.
yeah,
But yeah, it's cool to be back, and it's a bit of a revamp, like you said. We didn't have
yes.
guests before. We certainly weren't live streaming it, at least not in this type of format at the
Yeah.
time. So this is kind of a bit of a brand new venture.
It is. It is. So with this relaunch of the Unwatched Pile, so this is how it goes. This is how the show goes. So each of us and our guest will pick a film out of our collections that we have not watched yet. Of course, as collectors, we tend to blind buy a lot. It's something that I like to do a lot. And you get to feel guilty. So this is a chance for us and guests to take one of the movies, get it done, watch the film, and then get our first impressions of it. And sometimes maybe we won't like the film. Sometimes maybe we just found an awesome gem, and hopefully, and maybe some of us will have seen the films as well, so we can have a little fun discussion. And then along with that, we pair it with a film in our collections that maybe we were like, man, that would be a great double feature with this movie I just watched. Because that's how I think. When I'm thinking about films that I've just watched, a lot of times I think about where the influences came from. What would be great as a double feature? What would be, like what else can I, when I watch this again, what can I watch this with? So I think that makes this just a little bit funner and not so much about just our first time experience on a movie, but also going beyond that. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and from my perspective, a lot of these movies are going to be things that I bought years ago and then just put them on a pile or
yeah,
put them in a place and they just sat and sat and sat. So it's kind of like getting me off of, uh, getting me to do it, motivating me to do it, getting me to
yeah.
do it, and revisiting movies that I perhaps put off for many years for whatever reason the case may be. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, kind of discovering what I've already wanted to discover in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, getting around to it. That's the thing, is getting around to it. Now, of course, uh, like we said, we have a guest with us this week, and we would try to keep a guest every time we do this. Hopefully, maybe we do this. We probably start out maybe once a month, and then maybe it can grow beyond that if we find the time. But starting with our first guest, I don't know that he needs much of an introduction. I think if you're in the YouTube space, and you're into Blu-ray collecting, you've probably met this guy along your video searches. He is more busy than I could ever be. I don't know how he does all the work he does. He's on top of Blu-ray announcements. He does Blu-ray reviews. Him and his wife do this great show. I love, with his wife talking about his buys. And I'm blanking on the name of the show, but he'll fill us in, and that's Kenny Levels from Mid Level Media. What's
Hey,
up,
what's up,
man?
guys? How
How you
y'all doing?
doing?
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, man. And
I think you're
remind me
talking
the
about
name.
the Blu-ray audits
Yeah, the
that
Blu-ray
I do.
audits.
But we
Yes,
actually have our own channel. It's Married with Media, and
that's what I was trying to reference.
yeah,
Yes.
we do live streams and stuff over there, and do just like we basically just talk about like TV and movies
Yeah,
on streaming and just new releases that we see in the theaters.
that's awesome,
Things
man.
like
I
that.
I
She's
love.
not a collector at all. She could
Yeah.
care less about any of this stuff. So I don't. I only bring her with me on that journey at the end of the month when she's holding me accountable for all my purchases.
Well, I have total respect for that ability to do that, because I think about doing that with my wife, and it terrifies me. It terrifies me.
It makes you think about every decision that
Yeah.
you make throughout the month as far as what you're buying.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, if I really,
So it's not just a joke. It's a real like
it's it's real. There's some times where it gets a little heated and tense during the actual filming of it. It's 100% real. Now,
well, that's
we play it up a little bit for
yeah.
sure. Um, but no, there's times where we'll be done filming and she'll just get up and walk out. And
Wow. Some
so it,
Jerry Springer stuff going on.
yeah,
But that's
it's
cool, man.
dangerous territory.
Yeah, like I said, brave man. I don't think I could do that with my wife. I'm too scared. But
Yeah.
we appreciate you coming on, man,
Yep.
and doing this first episode with us. So, of course, as we said, we don't really feel like you need an introduction, but for people that might not have discovered your channel yet, please tell everybody about what Mid-Level Media is all about.
Yeah, I just I'm all physical media all the time. Mainly what I do is I kind of just cover like new announcements and things like that. I got to have a show every week called the Physical Media Report where I run down everything that's coming out this week, everything that's been announced, and in a nice digestible 20-25 minute form. And then I do, I try to keep up with as many new releases that come out, the reviews and unboxings and collection hauls and just things like that. I do some out and about videos as well, just kind of all over the place, but all pretty much tied to physical media and collecting.
Yeah, and so how long is the physical? Is it something that started when you were very little? Is that something that
Yeah, it's I always tell people it's when you're younger and I don't know how old you all are, but I imagine you're close to the same age I am. I mean, you didn't really think of it as collecting. It's just that's the way we watched movies. We had VHS tapes, we had DVDs, and I wouldn't say that I got into collecting like I am now until probably like 2016, somewhere around there, where I really
Yeah.
got into Blu-ray hot and heavy, and then started to discover all the boutique labels and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then I
it
just
sounds like me and you started around the same time because Andrew, who kind of got me into all this, that's probably roughly around the time that started. Andrew, I think
yeah.
2016 ish. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, I started much earlier.
Well, you did, but I'm saying for me and you.
Oh,
For
yeah.
me, when I met you, it became my thing as well.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you got more and more into it and kind of more,
Yeah.
like, fully invested, I would say, because you already had Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff when I met you.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you already were there.
Yeah. David James, he says in the audience, Ken appears shameless, and he's sweating under the collar.
Yeah. I try to keep my cool. Do try to. But yeah, I had a pretty good sized DVD collection. I probably
Yeah.
have like maybe 500-600 or something I amassed from when I was a teenager to early 20s. And then I got the crazy idea that I was, things seemed to be heading towards digital, and I sold off all my DVDs except for a few of my horror stuff in 2016. And I bought some stuff digitally.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I just like the ownership and actually
Yeah.
having it
Yeah.
physically. I'm just that kind of person. And then I just jumped straight back into Blu-ray because at that time, I mean, Blu-ray had already been out for a while, but I never felt the need to really jump into Blu-ray at that point in time.
Yeah, it took
So
me a few years to get it to kind of
yeah,
delve into the format because the format people I don't know if a lot of collectors know this, but like there was a whole format war with HD DVD and Blu-ray in the
I
year
remember that
2000.
because I was a big gamer in like the mid to uh, late 2000s. So I had the 360, I had the PS3, and
Yeah.
I had a few HD DVDs, and I had a couple of Blu-rays at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think we all can assume that Blu-ray won that war
Yeah,
since
it won
we've
that
got
one.
tons of them around
Pretty
us at this
handily,
point.
yeah.
Pretty
Just
handily.
imagine instead of all the blue, it was like that
It was red.
burgundy or that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It was red,
everywhere.
and there were certain studios that were on like different sides. It was a very medieval type of situation where it was like allies here, allies there, people fighting over what was best and
Makes
what
me
was
think
not.
about that scene in Tropic Thunder where he's talking about that whole thing, like when they're like walking
Yeah,
through the.
they actually explain it very well in that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing, I was like HD, DVD, Blu-ray. I was like, okay, some movies are coming out on HD DVD, some are coming out on Blu-ray. I'll just stick to DVD because it's all coming out there. So
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
this day, DVD is still a big seller.
It
You know,
is.
you see those sales reports or whatever. You see the pie chart with Blu-ray and DVD and now 4K, and blue DVD always takes up a big part of that pie. So it's
Yeah, I think it's
interesting how
still
that's the format that no one talks about, yet it's still very powerful.
Yeah.
yeah, it's, the people just going to Walmart and the Dollar Generals and just picking up the random movies. I still know people that don't have internet at their house,
Oh
and,
wow.
they buy DVDs at Walmart, and that's what they watch. You know, they have cable and they have DVDs that they rent or buy.
A lot of respect for them. I mean,
Yeah,
that's going
Mhm.
hardcore physical
that's old
media right
old school.
Yeah.
there.
It's because like yeah, because when I think of the internet, I almost think of like access to everything, like information and all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
don't even think of it immediately for streaming, but I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of it's used for is streaming and
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah,
what it
for
is.
sure.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for following from Ken's channel. Thank you.
I'm glad
Thank
that
you,
Steven's
Nancy.
keeping up with all that.
I'm trying to. I'm not. This is honestly like our first real kind of live stream, so I'm doing the best I can. But before we get into our picks and everything, I do want to go into the idea of blind buying with you real quick.
Well,
Is
because we
that
debate
something?
this. We
Yeah.
debate
Well,
this, don't we?
yeah. So you know, what do you consider blind buy, and how much do you do it? Do you do it a lot?
Well,
Is it?
I'll put it to you this way, when you said pick a movie from your collection that you hadn't watched, I was like, "That's like 50% of my collection. What do I pick?" Um, yeah, I had a lot of choices. But yeah, to me, like, that's the fun of it,
Yeah.
collecting. It's the exploration. Like, that's what drives me to continue to do it. I've always loved movies, but there's a lot of movies and a lot of different genres and time periods and other countries that I just never experienced growing up. So right now
Yeah.
I'm, getting access to all of that through all of these, incredible physical media releases, and I'm just, having a ball with it. And more often than not, I blind buy something, I watch it. It's rare that I don't, at least like a movie that I buy, or after I'm done watching it, think it's worthy to have in the collection. So I think it works out more often than it doesn't.
Do you do a little bit of homework before you decide to buy something? Do you look into what it's about and
I do, but I'm also, a little bit of a label whore, for
I
some,
understand that. I
or
understand that.
I don't necessarily try to be a completionist, but, with Scream Factory, I will try to get most of the 4Ks that come out. I did get burned with Bubba Hotep. I really did not like that movie at all.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember seeing that video. Yeah.
and I'm still debating on whether or not I should keep that in the collection. But and then Kino Lorber, like, I'm trying to get all their 4Ks, and
Yeah.
Vinegar Syndrome, I've recently got bit by them. So I'm
They're
trying to
tough.
collect like
They're
the
tough.
VSUs and stuff like that. So
Yeah, those labels are
Paramount
tough.
Presents as well. Paramount Presents. I really
Mm.
enjoy that line.
I would say, yeah, the more deeper down the levels of boutique you go, I say that the blind buying is a lot tougher in terms of
Yeah.
like the chances of you enjoying the movie. I think are a bit more
Yeah.
diminished,
Yeah, for sure.
as because they're more like acquired taste. They're for specific people, specific audiences, and the movies are oftentimes objectively bad, like
Yeah.
low production, bad acting, bad writing, and it's kind of all part of what like that type of level of fandom is going for or wants or likes. So it's really so subjective. So
Yeah.
subjective.
Yeah.
And I've always considered myself, a lover of things that are good. So sometimes when I'm watching some of those movies from Vinegar Syndrome, I don't know. Recently, I've been enjoying a lot of the stuff I've been watching from them. I was like, is Vinegar Syndrome making my taste in film like lower? Uh, that
Well, I mean, I think what they
my
do great.
standards are lowering.
Well, no, I mean, I think they do great is they help with their releases. They really help people understand what makes these films interesting, like especially with the features they include. The artwork is always amazing. They get you in really easily just on the cover.
Yeah,
And then from there, I think they honestly do a really good job of helping bring context to the film. It doesn't always work. I think there's a few sometimes that I've bought that even with whatever context they give me, I'm like, this movie's still kind of
yeah.
trash,
Hmm.
but
But yeah,
yeah.
sometimes you'll watch a movie that you're like, oh, that just wasn't good. But then you'll watch the features, and it's like Oh, I think I just watched a masterpiece.
Okay, that was kind of
It's like
cool. Yeah.
they
They
really
s
sell you on it.
they sell it well.
Yeah,
Their VSU line is something that I gravitate towards immediately just because of there's gotta be a reason why there's so much extra effort put into these releases that it's almost like the whole package in and of itself is what you're
yeah,
buying. You know what I mean? You're really
yeah,
buying like Steven said, the artwork, but also the immense amount of special features. The restoration work they put in is kind of incredible.
Yeah.
They put in more effort than I would say a lot of other studios do. Some more mainstream ones, I would say,
yeah.
but
They're up
it's
there with Arrow, I think, as far
Yeah.
as the
I would
quality.
agree. I would agree.
Most definitely. But okay, so tonight we have already announced this to the public that each of us have chosen from our collections a choice. So let's all bring out our choices here. So tonight I'm going to be talking about my first watch of this film starring Christian Slater, Pump Up the Volume, and Andrew. He's got a film. Show
I
please
do indeed.
introduce.
I've got Holy Motors,
Holy
um,
Motors.
by Leos Carax. I've been wanting to watch this movie for about a decade, and I finally was able to. But I'll go into that when we talk about it because I've got a background,
Yeah.
of course,
And I
information on that.
and I just heard about this movie and just everybody kept saying how cool it was and it was kind of like a punk rocky
I've heard a
type of
lot
movie.
about that one too.
Yeah. So I was like, I got it in the Warner Archive sale recently, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and watch this. So,
Yeah.
but Kenny, what was your pick?
I picked Pet Cemetery 2 from Scream Factory. So
I like it.
yeah, I love the first one. I always have since I was a kid, but for some reason I never checked this one out. So it's
Well,
been one.
as our guest, please start us off and let's get into Pet Cemetery 2, please. Please tell us your first tell us your love for the first film.
Yeah, I think Pet Cemetery, the first movie, there's things about it that I don't think age the best. I don't think all the acting and the performances are great, but the movie's got great it's got a great atmosphere and just tone to it, and it's got some things that happen in it that's just stuck with me my entire life and just kind of made me a fan of the genre forever. So that's one I always go back to. My wife's also a huge fan of the movie, so we'll watch it together. So it's kind of a shared experience for us. But and yeah, I've read the book a long time ago. I used to read a lot of Stephen King stuff back when I was in high school, early 20s. I haven't read a book in like probably 15 years at this point,
Yeah,
but yeah, I love the first Pet Cemetery. It's probably top 3 Stephen King adaptations for me. But yeah, this one I always heard bad things about. I always heard that it kind of wasn't good, and it was way lesser than the first one. So I just never jumped into it. Then when the Scream Factory came out, I had just really jumped into Scream Factory. I think this one maybe came out late 2019, early 2020. So I was like, I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, the cast is definitely better than the first one. I mean, you got
the
Anthony
cast is
Edwards in
amazing.
here,
Yeah.
Edward Furlong. I mean, you got Clancy Brown. I mean, the cast is like incredible in this movie. So yeah, this is what the reason I picked this one though is because it's just been one of those. It's been sitting on my shelf forever.
Yeah.
That when you ask me like what movie should I watch, I'm just thinking and thinking. I'm like, I've had Pet Cemetery 2 for just almost 4 years now. I feel like, and it's one that I just keep walking by. I feel like I hear this movie being talked about like all the time. And I'm like, I need to watch that. So I'm like, I'm gonna pick this one to watch. And yeah, this is it's not as good as the first movie, but I'd say it's definitely funner. It doesn't have such a grief-stricken tone to it. There's a lot of, tragic things that happen throughout the movie, but the movie never takes them that seriously, and it's very outlandish in its tone. And Clancy Brown in this movie is just freaking amazing.
I was gonna say, so I've seen. I don't know if Andrew, have you seen Pet Cemetery 2?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
I haven't seen the original actually.
You haven't seen the original Pet
No,
Cemetery? Wow,
no,
I didn't know
ironic-
this about you, Andrew.
No, I saw the remake coincidentally, or the readaptation that was done a couple of years ago,
which is not good.
Yeah,
which is not good. No.
Yeah.
I
I'll
know the
just say-
concept of it, obviously.
Yeah, you got to see the first one. Like Zelda is that image of her getting out of the bed is like just one of the most
Yeah.
horrific moments in any movie. It
And
still
just that
scares
kid,
me every
and
time I
that kid
watch
is
it.
amazing. And that kid is amazing.
Well,
Yeah,
ironically,
I
I'm
can't think
trying
of
to
his
make my
name.
way. I
Migo
was just
Hughes, I think.
Oh, yeah.
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 I've been trying to make my way through Stephen King's, bibliography. So I've been going, like, in order from, like, his first novel all the way through, obviously a huge tall task because he comes out with a new book every year seemingly, and he seemingly never stops writing. So I think,
And
like,
they
I wanted
adapt
to
it the next year, usually.
yeah, I wanted to get I wanted to read a bunch of his stuff and then watch the adaptations. I had already seen most of the adaptations just by happenstance, like Carrie and stuff like that. But other ones I hadn't really gotten the chance to see yet, including Pet Cemetery. Um, and that was always one I wanted to read first and then watch the movie adaptations. But I also kind of broke that rule because I've already seen the remake adaptation, so there
Yeah.
goes that idea. But I'm certainly familiar with the story. I don't know, I didn't watch a lot of those growing up. I feel like a lot of people watched those in their formative years, and I just missed all of those Stephen King adaptations, like Salem's Lot and things like
I
that until
haven't
I
seen
got older.
Salem's Lot either. Yeah, that's a big one I've missed.
Yeah, I have that's one that's in my unwatched pile. It's on my shelf. I know it's a vampire film. That's about all. It's as far as I've gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pet Cemetery 2. So let's talk about the plot. What do you gather? I know sometimes when a first time watch happens, it's not everything comes through into your mind. But tell us a little bit about what this film's about.
Well, it's Edward Furlong, his mother's an actress in Hollywood, and she dies in a horrific death in the very beginning. She gets
Yeah.
electrocuted,
Yeah.
some kind of stage accident that happens. So then they go, him and his father, who's played by Anthony Edwards, go move to her hometown
Yeah.
to bury her, and then decide to live there. And then you have Clancy Brown, who's the sheriff of the town, and Edward Furlong kind of befriends his son or his stepson, I
Yeah.
believe. And just that's kind of the setup to it. Um, After that, you have a series of events. That's the thing that really got me with this one is things escalate a lot quicker in this
Yeah.
than the first one. Uh, so Clancy Brown shoots the dog. They bury the dog. He comes back, and Clancy Brown's dead. And then they bury him, and it's like people just start getting buried left and right, and coming back. And there's a lot of dead people that come back to life in this one, for sure.
It's
I
that.
won't spoil the whole movie, but
Yeah, it's that syndrome of sequels where you feel the need to like up it. Like you have to bring. It can't just be one thing. In the first film, it's just the kid is for the most of the movie. It's just the kid. Like it's about, and then like the cat and like,
yeah,
but it's not. It's like you said, it's not like over and over and over again. Like something's happening. Like in this film, they take it up. Like they really
yeah.
and played the comedy a lot more to it
It gets to
too.
the point where it almost feels like doesn't quite go there, but it almost feels like a spoof of the original,
In a way, yeah,
with where they take it. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. The scene at the dinner table where Edward Furlong and Clancy
yeah,
Brown are all sitting there and they're eating the mashed potatoes and then they just start laughing
that was
is
hilarious.
amazing.
And there's some great effects, practical effects with some kills.
Amazing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
With I forgot that the kid from the only thing I know him from is Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes,
Uh,
the
is the
the
bully in the
bully.
movie.
Yep. Yep.
And his death scene is
It's my
gruesome.
favorite.
It's
It's great.
gruesome.
I
Yeah.
like it. So, um, please give us our rating. So you did say it was better. It wasn't as good as the first one, but where do you say to a 1 to 10? Where do you put Pet Cemetery 2?
I'll give it a solid 7.
Okay,
You know,
that's good. Yeah.
as a movie, it's probably a 6. I'd say my enjoyment of it raised it a point. It's a fun movie, but it's one that I can never. I know people that put this above the first one.
Honestly, I'm on the borderline because I do like the first one, but this movie, it's that thing about horror sequels where they kind of take it more comical route, like your Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, or your,
Yeah,
they
similar.
go in a different direction a little bit, and it doesn't quite go that far, but it does change the tone a little bit, and it is an easy fun watch, and
Yeah.
it's got the gore you want and everything. So yeah, um,
And
It's
another thing I'll say about this is, I watched a couple of the special features. They got Clancy Brown to do a special feature in this. They got Edward Furlong to come back and talk about it, and they're pretty lengthy interviews. So really cool that they got both of them to come back
yeah.
and talk about the film. And it looked really good as well. They did a good job with the Blu-ray restoration. I don't know if they'll do a 4K. It seems like Scream Factory's in complete 4K upgrade mode at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily needs one, but you know, I don't think Skyline needs a 4K either, but that's coming out next month.
But that happens. Yeah. We have that now.
Yeah.
Great. So now we're here to the double feature part. So when you got done watching this film, what was something that you felt would really pair nicely with Pet Cemetery 2?
All right. So the reason I paired this one, I'll go ahead and show it. This is Silver Bullets. You know, you got two snarling animals
Okay.
on the covers, but that's not the reason I paired them together. I remember buying these both around the same time.
Yeah.
And I watched one of them almost immediately, and the other one I let sit on the shelf for 4 years. So, in my mind, when I think of Pet Cemetery 2, I think of Silver Bullet on Blu-ray because I bought them close to the same time. And Silver Bullet, like I said, it's I watched it for the first time as well when I got this. I'd never seen it. This is a great one as well, from what I remember. It's I don't think it's top tier werewolf. I don't think it's quite up there with The Howling or American Werewolf in London, but it's a lot of fun. You got Corey Haim. I think that was the first ever Corey Haim movie I had seen at the time because I hadn't seen Lost Boys until the 4K came out last year. But this is a really good movie. Him and Gary Busey, I think, have a really good relationship and chemistry with each other in the film. And yeah, it's a different kind of werewolf movie, just in the tone of it. But it's a cool movie. It's got a nice 4th of July, like summertime feel to it
Okay.
as well. Have you all seen this one?
I have not. I have not.
I have not, but is that another Stephen King adaptation?
That yeah, again, I didn't even mean to do that.
Wow.
but
Say nice,
two
nice, nice
Stephen King
catch.
adaptations.
Nice catch.
Yeah, Silver Bullet. This one, yeah, the year I was born, this one came out in 1985, and I'd always heard good things about it. A lot of people, hyping this movie up. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's not quite as goofy as Pet Cemetery 2, but I'd say it's a little bit on the lighter side
Yeah.
as far as a werewolf movie, kind of like a children like coming of age story, like
I was
most
going
of
to say,
Stephen
is
King's
this
stuff.
one that kids can watch?
He's in a wheelchair. His uncle, kind of helps him, and
Yeah.
he's kind of trying to figure out who the werewolf is throughout the movie. So it's a little bit of a mystery while he's in this wheelchair. And then you have the werewolf kind of attacking people along the way, killing people, and a lot of really gruesome scenes in the movie too. So I wouldn't say it's a kids movie, but it's
I don't know.
it's
think-
I mean, I would watch it when I was a kid, but
Well, I was going to say I would too.
I'm not
so
going to tell parents to show their 5-year-old the movie or anything.
Come on, man. We're not on your channel. We're on my channel. We're on my channel. Say what the hell you want. No.
I guess
Yeah, I
it's
would, but
yeah, it's interesting how there just seemed to be a big explosion of werewolf stuff in the horror genre in the 80s. Because I'm thinking of like American Werewolf in London, The Howling, obviously
Teen
Silver
Wolf.
Bullet. Yeah, Teen Wolf. Like it's
Yeah.
like there's just to be a huge craze of werewolf stuff. It seems to come and go. You know what I mean? Like within the horror genre, it feels like all of the kind of subgenres, whether it be zombies or vampires or werewolves, like there's like a boom and then it dissipates and then a boom back again. And it felt like the 80s happened to be werewolves. In the
Yeah,
2000s, probably zombies and vampires.
yeah, they were definitely big. I feel like they popped up again for a little bit, like in the late '90s, early 2000s, because you have Wes Craven's Cursed, and
Yeah.
I feel like Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer do a movie
Wolf.
called
Yeah.
Wolf, I think,
Yes, they did in the 90s. And
was,
that
in the
was
'90s, and then
directed
there's
by
American
Mike
Werewolf
Yeah.
in Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike
and
Nichols. Yeah.
Mike Nichols directed Wolf. Yeah, that's very, very interesting kind of, you wouldn't think Jack Nicholson would do a werewolf movie, but Robert De
I
Niro
mean,
did
it works.
Frankenstein.
Honestly, it works for him. We're getting a lot of people saying some of their favorite werewolf films, Dog Soldiers.
Yeah,
of
Dog
course.
Soldiers. That's another one came out in I
Yeah.
think 2005 or 6 or something, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm even thinking of Ginger Snaps. Ginger
Yeah,
Snaps is a
Ginger
movie that I
Snaps. Yeah,
love.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that and its sequels. I think are really good. Super
Yeah, I just
underrated.
watched that one for the first time last October, actually. I haven't seen the sequels, but
Yeah.
in this are the same two girls in the sequel?
I I believe they are. I think one of the sequels is also a prequel, so obviously I think they casted younger actresses, but I think there is a sequel, and I think they're in it. Yes. Um. Yeah, I've always really liked those movies. I I I'm trying to think if Shout Factory did a 4K upgrade for Ginger Snaps, but I don't think they have. That seems to be one
That
that
I
they're
don't think
waiting
they've
on.
done one for that
No,
one yet.
no.
Yeah.
They did do The
To be
Craft
honest,
though.
it looked a little rough on Blu-ray.
It's a
Mm.
super low budget film. I
Yeah.
think that's
I
kind of the
think
thing.
It's a Canadian
Imprint
film, isn't it?
Yes,
it
and
is.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think Imprint put out a set, if I'm not
they
mistaken.
did of like all three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They did.
Um, and yeah, so I mean, werewolf. I think the werewolf genre really needs to come. We need a renaissance of that. I mean, I think would we have that? What was that film last year that came out? It was that mystery one that was like in a cabin, and then it was kind of like at the last minute you find out that one of them's a werewolf or something like that. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh man, that's pretty.
I know that was a shitty
That
description
was
of
a
it.
pretty obscure
I know
references
it
I
was
there.
a
remember a movie
terrible.
called Curse that came out last year.
That's not it.
And
It was a
it's
very subtle movie, but people liked it. I can't. I'll get around. Maybe somebody will know what I'm talking about. Werewolf movie that came out last year. People liked it. That's all I can tell you. I can't think of the plot necessarily, but
yeah.
but
And also this does, again, I wouldn't put it up to the same. This movie doesn't have, I think what hurts it is it doesn't have that great transformation scene like The Howling and American Werewolf does. Like every good werewolf movie has that
yeah.
standout transformation scene. This movie doesn't really have that, but it's still a really fun werewolf movie.
I don't know if this. I don't think it's the Wildling, David. I don't think so. It's like that. I think the title of the movie is like a question. Like it's like a sentence. It's like a question. Like where where is the something? I
Is
don't
it a
know.
big? Was it a big movie, or is it something that was like a
It was an
Shudder
independent
exclusive
movie.
or something?
It might have been like an online exclusive, maybe, but it's not that big of a deal, guys. Let's not turn the whole show into figuring out this one
Oh,
movie that I
well,
can't
you
describe.
can't set us down on this path and
No,
just.
well, you're gonna have to pretend that you didn't hear what I said. So, yeah, but I do believe that the werewolf genre really needs to I'd love to see that genre come back and give it some spotlight because we've had so much zombie stuff, so much vampire stuff, and I've always loved werewolves are just they're no. There's another one. Here's the hunting. No, it's not it.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Some good choices, guys, but I don't know.
It's not Werewolf by Night.
No, stop looking.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I remember when I was a kid, like I saw American Werewolf in London when I was probably like 6 or 7, and I was so scared of that movie that I did not watch a lot of werewolf movies. That was the only like creature that actually scared me when I was a kid were werewolves. So I didn't watch The Howling until I was a little bit older.
Well, it's interesting if you think of all like the legendary Universal monsters. It's the only one where like someone turns into it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's like an affliction that changes you and turns you into a monster. Frankenstein is like created a monster. Dracula's already a vampire. You know, Creature from the Black Lagoon. He's a creature. You know, he wasn't a
Okay.
human before.
Okay, I figured out the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay, so it wasn't last year; it was the year before. Film called Werewolves Within is the name of the movie.
Yeah, I think I have that too. But, yeah, I think
But-
it's over there somewhere. I do
Yeah,
remember
but-
that though. Everybody's talked good things about that movie.
Yeah, I remember watching it and thinking it was okay. But because it's not really it's got a different way of telling the story. It was an interesting.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Yeah. Come on, Andrew.
Yeah, I saw it. It was like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Sam.
There was like
Richardson.
a park ranger type dude that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Sam Richardson. Yeah, it was actually a really funny kind of indie horror comedy.
Of course
With
you liked it.
little
Of course
twist
you
at the
liked
end.
it. But awesome, man. Awesome. I love the double feature there. I have to check out Silver Bullets and see if it, because I've seen Pet Sematary too, so I got to see if that pairs well. I'll get back to you. I'll see if that double feature works. So.
I think it works, you know. I think it works. The covers look similar, at least. They're both snarling beasts on the cover.
Sounds
Both Stephen King. Look, I didn't even mean for that.
Yeah, you didn't even make that connection, but it works good. That's awesome, man. All right. Well, Andrew, please take us over to Holy Motors.
I didn't know if I was going to be next, but looks like I am. So
you are.
Holy Motors. This is the Blu-ray put out by Shout Factory through their shout select line. Each of them are numbered. This is
A lot,
number
lot of shout
55.
love tonight, apparently.
Yeah, it
Jeez.
kind of
Yeah.
random. Yeah, this is number 55. They're well over 100 by now. Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah, they're
way
over
over them. I remember
100.
when it first started. But this is the movie Holy Motors. This movie came out in I think 2012, or it was at like a festival in 2012. We got theatrical in 2013. One of those type of release things. And this was a film directed by Leos Carax, who was a director that I had never heard of at the time that this movie came out. I remember seeing this movie when it was streaming on Netflix, or at the time it was streaming there, and I watched, like, one of the trailers where you, like, hover over and the trailer plays on Netflix. It was one of those, and I immediately thought, "This is amazing." Added it to my watch list, my queue at the time, never watched it. And then it wasn't until years and years later where this Blu-ray came out. It initially had a regular Blu-ray release, but then this Blu-ray came out, and I was like, "I wanna get this." And I think I got this for, like, my birthday last year or something like that. But Holy Motors is a film right up my alley. It's an art house, avant-garde, surreal type of movie. This is the same director who directed the movie Annette that came out in 2021 with Adam Driver, another really surreal, really weird movie. And those are the type of movies I gravitate
Oh, I never got a
towards.
chance to watch that. I heard some crazy things about it.
It was very divisive. Some people
Okay.
liked it, some people loved it, some people thought it was just pretentious trash.
Yeah.
When it comes to kind of these pretentious movies, I think I tend to favor them a lot more. Maybe because I like their challenging nature. I like the unconventionality of it,
Yeah.
and in this movie is right up there. So the plot of this movie is really tough to get into because the movie kind of really doesn't have quite a solid plot. But this is the general overall gist of it. There's this man, and we don't really know his name or anything like that, and he has this job, I would say in quotes, at least I think it's a job, where he spends his whole day going to these appointments. And I put appointments in quotes because at these appointments, he acts out different roles. I don't know if he's hired to do them. I don't know if, like, what the purpose of them are, but he's hired to act out these different roles in different scenarios. So he travels around in this long stretch white limousine all day and has an assistant who's also the limousine driver. And it's the assistant's job to go with his schedule, get him to different places, take care of him, whatever the case may be, make sure he eats, take care of the whole schedule, kind of an assistant's job. And while he's in the limousine, he applies makeup, applies different clothes, applies certain things to transform himself into whatever the next appointment's role requires him to do. And this movie just has follows him traveling around during one of his days, and you see him in these just incredibly different, diverse situations where it could be something as simple as picking someone up from picking like being a father picking a daughter up from a party she went to, or being transformed into someone who performs a hit on someone, or at one time he transforms himself into this monstrous troll-like creature who just terrorizes people. So this film is just in this dreamlike, surreal setting, and it keeps you completely off guard as to what is going to happen next. And I found myself completely entranced by it because it's a movie that feels like it takes place in our own world, but it really doesn't. Because the rules of our world kind of don't apply here. And you begin to ask yourself, what is actually going on, and you really don't come up with answers. So the film is more of a metaphorical, symbolic type of film, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Something that I would recommend to people who are in that similar surrealist film vibe. But this release here, I'm actually glad I got it because it is chock full of extensive special features, like more special features than I expected, and long special features too. For example, it has a making of on here that is 47 minutes long. Uh, like one of those making of behind the scenes things where it's 47 minutes long. It's got a Q&A with the director at a film festival in 2012 that goes for over an hour. It's got an interview with Kylie Minogue, who was in this film. If people know who Kylie Minogue is, I would say musical artist, also actress. She was in Street Fighter. If anybody remembers that
Mm.
movie from the mid
Ah,
'90s.
amazing Van Damme movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember that one.
I
It's been a
went
while.
to the theaters and saw that. When did that come out, Steven? Like 1994? I may have
Something,
been
Maybe
yeah.
it was 93, maybe?
I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I walked in, and the movie had already started. And yeah, that's Raul Julia's last film,
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Didn't he die before it came out, I
I
think?
think he did. It was either right before or right after. But Kylie Minogue was in that film as one of the characters. So was Ming Na Wen, and like you said, Van Damme. Talk about video game movies before video game movies were a
Yeah,
thing.
in Raul Julia,
Yeah, he was Bison.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
look
Did you all
Boozy.
get that Mill Creek Steelbook that they had? Sorry to
I
go
did
off
not.
topic, but
No.
it had bison bucks inside of it.
Oh
Nice.
God.
What a
It was a cool
reference.
little, yeah, it was a cool
Thing
little
is, I
thing they
played
did.
that video game obviously before that movie came out, so I was all hyped for it as like a little kid.
Yeah, I was a
On my
Street Fighter kid. I didn't play Mortal Kombat as much when I was
I
younger.
played both. I was one of those spoiled kids who had both Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, so
I
it's like I had
always
the best
say
of both
you
worlds.
either have one or the other,
I
and the
had both.
spoiled kids had both.
I had both.
I had a
But
Sega Genesis. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and then I went from there to Nintendo 64. But anywho, back to Holy Motors. So Kylie Minogue is in a small part of this film. She's very good. She, of course, sings in the film. There's a sequence in this film that's like an intermission that is incredibly brilliant and stylized, where the main character, who's actually, I should get his name because he's the actor who portrays all of these different intricate roles, Denny Lavant, and he is incredible in this film in the diversity of his acting. But there is a sequence in this film with an accordion. He's playing an accordion, and then he's accompanied by a lot of other people playing accordions. And it's the film has nothing to do with the plot, but it's so artistically well done that I'm
Yeah.
like, this is amazing. This is
Yeah.
just amazing. But as I was saying, incredible extras package here. Um, it even comes with a 38-minute sequence from another film that this director was a part of. He directed a film, or was part of directing a film called Tokyo from 2008. And there was a character that is reprised in this film called Monsieur Merde, who um, is part of a 38-minute sequence of that film. I think that film was made up of like three anthology parts, and he directed one of them. So he takes that character from there, puts him in this film, works him into one of the appointments, and it's just maddeningly great. So this
Yeah.
is an incredible release, I think.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
I didn't get
I'd heard about that movie
yeah
before, but I don't have that release, so
yeah
I'm gonna have to grab that.
it's worth it. I would say just for the extras package alone, because you get what you spend. I mean, my thing with Shout Factory releases have always been, this is going back to, when before they had done Shout Select, before they had done even Scream Factories, they were always slightly too expensive. Like I felt like they were just above where I thought their releases should be at, and because that's just the way my mental process goes when it comes to collecting. But this was
Yeah.
well worth whatever I paid for it, because it gives you exactly what you
Back in the
expect
good
a
old
nice
days
release.
of Shout Factory, Scream Factory, where they actually added in quite a few new special features. I feel like nowadays it's like, well, if you get a 4K upgrade, it's nothing new.
Right.
But if
Yeah.
it's like a new Blu-ray or 4K, it's
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 special features that are like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Andrew,
Yes.
your double feature. I
My
do.
double feature.
Yeah. So before you do that,
Okay.
somebody has a suggestion for the match with that film. Let's see if he gets it right. Corey Wilkerson says, "I know Holy Motors is probably completely different, but maybe a double feature with Catch Me If You Can." Just made me think of whole pretending acting in different roles thing.
Honestly, that could work.
Yeah.
That could work. I
Okay.
wasn't quite on that wavelength. I was thinking, what's a movie that has this surreal vibe to it, that has this world that doesn't look like our own, like this director's playing with their own vibe, and you could have gone with a lot of this director's filmography, and I went with David Lynch's Lost Highway.
Oh, okay.
I
Good
think
one.
you could have gone with Mulholland Drive. You could have gone with Blue Velvet. You could have gone with even his television series Twin Peaks or Twin Peaks: The Return. That's the type of vibe that that movie has. Holy Motors, but Lost Highway, I felt like immediately went to it. Like that was the
Yeah.
immediate film I thought. Even before I had seen Holy Motors, I'm like, I got that feeling. I got that feeling. So I went with Lost Highway. Um, and
The
the
movie's a
reason being,
trip.
Lost Highway
Oh
is
yeah.
dealing with um the idea of different identities, doppelgangers, surreal type of situations, um, kind of this haunting narrative of things aren't quite right and you don't know why, and it creates this tapestry of a plot that that's tough for you to figure out as a viewer. So I was thinking of Lost Highway, and this is a tough film to even like quite describe to people because, as most David Lynch works, I think is tough to describe to people. You kind of have to go with it. But this
Just a
film stars.
series of bizarre events
Yeah.
That's
that
kind of
were
it.
plots.
Other than Dune, I feel like that can sum up David
I
Lynch's entire
always
career.
describe David Lynch films. It's like a puzzle, but the puzzles you have pieces from all different puzzles
Yeah.
at your disposal, and you can never put it together because
It's
it's
like
all different puzzles.
sometimes they fit, but they just don't quite fit
Yeah,
perfectly, and that's the intention of it. Like he's
that
purposely trying to do that to you.
that is a director I haven't yet been able to connect to. I do. I aspire to one day, but I like Blue Velvets. I think that's probably his most accessible movie that I watched of his.
That's
Um,
the one that started the David Lynch love for me was Blue Velvet.
yeah,
Because if you can get through that, I feel like it's an easier way to get in
I feel like
to.
they're so dense. I have to watch him at least 2 or 3 times before I really start to comprehend.
Yeah, his films feel like film school master classes. They really feel like you're if you're not quite ready, you will absolutely get your mind blown or your mind will be melted. I
Yeah.
always I've said this all the time. The first time I watched Eraserhead, I wasn't ready for that type of movie, and my mind completely was eviscerated because of it.
Now I haven't seen that one yet. I need to watch it.
Yeah, Steven and I remember when we did our rewatch, Steven, of
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like coming into it for like the first time in 10 years. And I feel like I had finally reached the point where I could tackle it again. And I feel like that's the case with a lot of David Lynch's work, especially Mulholland Drive, which is my favorite. It it's a film that I saw when I was much younger, and it just racked my brain then and racks my brain to this day. And Lost Highway is similar. I had not seen this movie in about a decade myself. Back when I watched it on DVD, I actually have the Kino Blu-ray, but I decided to upgrade to here because
Yeah.
notoriously that Kino Blu-ray is kind of bare bones.
Yeah, I watched I had the Kino Blu-ray and I upgraded it knowing I wasn't a huge fan of it anyway and got that Criterion because it was a digipack and they hadn't done one of those in so long and I love them so much.
Oh, I do
Um,
like the Digipack.
and I heard great things about that 4K too. I heard it looks fantastic.
It
So
actually, yeah, it does look good, and
I want to
and
give that movie another chance. So I definitely will rewatch it at some
yeah,
point.
while I was watching it the other night, I was trying to, you know, get back into it, get back in, switch my brain to that David Lynch mode to kind of like really digest the film and really get into it. And once you finally click into that level, like you just got to go with it. It's like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Things may not make sense. You may be jostled around. You may be flying off of the seat from time to time, but it's it's a heck of a ride that I always like taking. But this film stars Bill Pullman, Patricia Arquette, and how does one describe this film? The plot of this. David Arquette, Patricia Arquette, and Bill Pullman's character initially start out as this couple, and they're living in this house, and they're receiving VHS tapes in the mail because this movie came out in 1997, so we had VHS tapes back in the 90s, and these VHS tapes are kind of like these voyeuristic, like you know, eight like hi-fi eight thing tapes of just like their house and then inside of their house. Very, very creepy, very unsettling. And what happens is certain things happen where Bill Pullman's character switches places with someone else in some other place, but it works itself into the first part of the plot. I'm trying to be extremely ambiguous. So the film is dealing with different scenarios, doppelgangers, identity changes. It's a bit of a neo-noir mystery as well, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Um, but I really love this film. I've loved it since I first saw it. But this actually comes with pretty good amount of special features. Obviously, it's 4K UHD. You do have certain behind the scenes documentary type stuff. You'll never get David Lynch doing a commentary or David Lynch talking about any of
Yeah.
his movies. You never get any of that, but you'll get other people talking about it.
Well,
They
why
should
is
just
that?
well, he doesn't like to explain his movies. Like
Uh,
he I
you
don't I
son of
mean,
a gun.
I'm sure he has an idea of what his movies are about, but I don't think I mean, honestly, I think he knows that the mystery of his movies is what keeps people coming back.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
he does do interviews. Like
He
here,
knows, but he doesn't think we're smart enough to understand his
there
thought
may-
process, so he
maybe
just doesn't
probably
want to bother.
Probably. There are archival interviews with Lynch and Patricia Arquette and Bill Pullman and Robert Loggia's in this film. Robert
Robert
Loggia, who's doing
Loggia.
his best yelling acting you'll ever see in this film. There's
Yeah.
a one sequence where someone's tailgating him and he absolutely just goes bananas and just goes crazy. Robert Loggia is another one of those actors who comes from the Lee J. Cobb School of Acting, just yelling
yeah,
out his lines
yeah.
all of the time. Him, George C. Scott, and Robert Loggia all went to the same school of acting, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is a great release. It's got, of course, the booklet that Criterion stuff comes with. It's got the
Yeah, I love
digipack
those digipacks.
styling, which I actually do really like. You know, if I'm going to spend, you know, a little extra on the Criterions, I do, want to at least have it look like there's more to it. That was my
Yeah.
thing over the years. You know, these are at a little bit slightly higher premium price than you get for normal Blu-rays or normal 4Ks. So you might as well get a little bit more for your money. But that is Lost Highway.
Interesting career choice too for Bill Pullman, because that's the year after he did Independence Day.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a mega star off that movie, and then he goes in, I think you'll see that in a lot of actors' career. Usually they'll do something that's like huge, big blockbuster, and then they'll do something that's super indie, like a year later.
He did another movie that was super indie that people love during that time. It was like Zero something, the Zero Effect or the Zero.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about.
I haven't heard of that one.
Did you ever see the movie Surveillance that he did that was directed by David Lynch's daughter?
No.
No.
Yeah, that movie is kind of underrated. I've had the Blu-ray for a while of that, and I've seen it a few times. But yeah, he has done a lot of more indie stuff, and it's kind of amazing how he was in that giant blockbuster and then did Lost Highway right after. I do have to say that both of these releases do look fantastic in their formats. This was given a 4K digital restoration, and the movie is shot interestingly. It feels like it was purposely shot in an incredibly soft cinematography. Like things look very grainy, things look soft in it and whatnot. And maybe that was just a stylistic choice for David Lynch at the time. Probably
Yeah.
shot on film, I assume, in the 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that film is called The Zero Effect, and it
Oh.
came out the year after Lost Highway. It's a weird kind of noir-ish type of film where he plays a private detective that's actually got a kind of a cult following. So that's
Has
one to
anybody
check
put
out.
that one out?
I don't know. I don't know that it's really gotten a real boutique release or anything like that. I think it's just got a studio release. It might not. I don't even know if it's got a Blu-ray. I know it's got.
I can check.
Yeah, you check. You're good at finding that quick. But,
Well, I'm on my Blu-ray.com tab is always
is
up.
always open. Yeah.
Same here.
But
So the the Zero Effect does not have a release in the US, and it doesn't have a release anyplace else on Blu-ray at least.
there you go. Yeah.
On DVD, it does have a DVD release here in the States, and also one from Warner Archive collection as well.
Is it on streaming in HD?
That's a good
Like in
question.
Netflix?
It's definitely
or-
on streaming, I believe. I don't know that it's in fantastic quality, but it's definitely on streaming.
Yeah.
But speaking of Warner Archive,
Oh, good transition, Stephen.
There you go.
that is my pick here is a Warner Archive release, and that's Pump Up the Volume, starring Christian Slater. And so, yeah, this one, I'm a big fan of films with DJs in them. I don't know. There's something about films with DJs in them that is just really fun. I think of films like, what was it, Radio, from the 70s. I think it's called Radio. What's that film? Wait, Airheads. It's got DJs in them.
Yeah.
They take
It
over a
does.
whole radio station. I love that. And also this film is a film that's very much about, adolescence. It's about having a lot to say. It's kind of a punk rock movie. And it kind of makes sense because the director, Alan Morel, how you say his last name, he did another film that Kino put out not too long ago called Times Square. Remember Times Square, Andrew? We talking about the two girls. They start
I
the
do
band.
remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen Times Square, Ken?
I have not. That one just came out from Kino, didn't it?
Yeah, last year, I believe.
I almost got it. I don't feel like I've seen that one show up in the recent sales though.
Yeah, probably not. It probably needs some more time, but it's a good one. It's a good one. Kat Ellinger did, I believe, a commentary on it.
I was gonna say, yeah, Kat Ellinger did a commentary. There's 2 commentaries on it actually.
Yeah.
And she did the newest one, which is an exclusive to that release.
Yeah. But this director, yeah, he's obviously into that scene. He also did Empire Records. He directed Empire Records as well.
I have seen Empire Records.
Yeah. So this film, Pump Up the Volume, stars Christian Slater, and he is this kind of, in a sense, superhero to his school in a way. Nobody knows that he is this guy that does this late night radio show that broadcasts that everybody in the school seems to be drawn to because he talks about a lot of things that, adults don't like to hear them talk about, which is like sex and drugs and all the things that adults are. This film almost has kind of like a, what's that movie? Footloose kind of thing going on where the parents and the town are just trying to hold the teenagers down the whole time. And so Christian Slater, his family seemed like a nice family, normal family, but then he goes into his room late at night and it's got this whole setup to talk to the town basically. And he goes into everything, and the person he is in that room is completely different than the person he is to the rest of the world. He then goes to school and he's this quiet, tame guy with glasses, just goes around kind of like a Clark Kent situation going on. Very different, going around school, keeping to himself. But then he goes on that mic late at night and he is, just ruthless. He's vile. He's fun. He's got opinions. He's got opinions about social issues, political issues. Of course, things that are involved in the school. The superintendents, the people that are involved in their day-to-day lives, he has things to say about them. And then he, of course, it also delves into like just normal teenage problems, and kids with depression and things like that. That there's a situation in the film where a kid calls in and he's thinking about killing himself. And like, so it dives into a lot of them issues that kids at that age are going through and plays it up as this, this something that usually is played by an adult, kids doing it. And he's going against the grain. The school finds out about this show and tries to find him. A lot of the movie, they're trying to find him. This girl who is really attracted to him through his voice is trying to find out which person in his school is this guy. And so, yeah, it's just a really fun punk rock. It's hilarious. Ken, I know you said you haven't seen it. I know, Andrew, you have seen it.
I have seen it. Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think of Pump Up the Volume?
Well, I love the movie. It's such a great counterculture film. It's anti-authority. It's kind of a teen angst type of film, and it's a great showcase for how big of a star Christian Slater was in the late 80s, early 90s. He was just one of the biggest stars, and his star has faded a bit over the years, but I think he's made a bit of a resurgence as an adult actor. Or as doing later stuff in later years. I know he was on what was it, Mr. Robot. He was on that series, and that was kind of a big resurgent comeback for him, and in the critics' eyes at least. I know he got all kind of critical acclaim for that. But that film specifically, Pump Up the Volume, is such an underrated, underlooked gem, I think, of his filmography. because it's such a solid film dealing with a lot of issues that are relatively contemporary to a lot of young people, a lot of teenagers and stuff. I say this all of the time. Every generation every generation of youth and young people keep going through like the same form of the same things over and over again, dealing with the previous generation, dealing with certain teenage angsty struggles in life, existential crises, stuff like that. And every generation kind of has that voice in it in movies. And Pump Up the Volume is very much one of them. And I put it in the same vein as kind of a lot of those other films in that era that you're talking about, Steven, like Empire Records, Dazed and Confused,
Yeah.
even something like Reality Bites, which has a little bit. Reality Bites is like an older type of Gen X type of generation, but it's in that same vein of that Gen X generation. Yeah, it's a really great underrated film, and I'm super glad that Warner Archive put it out on Blu-ray because I know that Blu-ray I think just came out within what the last 3 years.
Yeah, it definitely was in the past 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and before then, I'm pretty sure it was only available probably on DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pump Up
What
the
year did that come out?
1990.
1990.
1990.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Christian Slater, there's a lot of his movies from that time period. I know people keep talking about Untamed Heart.
Yeah.
Keep hearing that one come up with him and Marissa Tomei. I got that from Kino Lorber. Seems like he's got a lot of stuff from the 80s and 90s.
yeah, I think his big one is obviously Heathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, is another big one, which is also set in high school. I think it came
I
out
always
in
liked his
89.
action stuff, like Broken Arrow is like one of my favorite
Yeah,
action
Broken
movies,
Really?
and Hard
Fun movie.
Rain.
Oh, I love
Um,
Hard
Oh,
Rain.
Hard
Yeah.
Rain, yeah.
Yeah,
It's raining
yeah,
that whole movie.
Fucking
it
rain.
really is.
Hard.
I get Hard Rain and Black Rain confused. Don't ask
Yeah,
me
Black
why.
Black Rain, the Tony Scott movie? Or
Yes.
Ridley Scott movie.
I get those two movies confused. They both have rain in the title. I don't know why.
Yeah, one's got Michael Douglas in it, and one's
One
not so much
doesn't.
rain. Yeah, and one doesn't. Another one's got Morgan Freeman in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I really like this. I one aspect of it I love is just that, you know, this guy's voice speaks to not only just one type of teenager. You know, there's throughout the film you see different kids from different backgrounds. You got like this like punk rocky type of dude that, you know, and then you see like girls at home that are just like, you know, younger girls that are not even Christian Slater's age, you know, like just the teachers. There's teachers in the school that listen, and they're all like relating on some level to the things he's saying. And
You know what it reminds me of a lot? Yeah, I mean, you bring up this movie a lot. Charlie Bartlett.
why would you do that?
Because I think that
Why would
Oh
you
reminds
do
me
wow,
of
he's
that.
He just literally.
Well, that's
he
what popped
spoiled
in
the
my head.
choice.
Might as well transition to it now.
Well, he knew that this was my movie, and he did it
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I won't
All right.
talk about, but I'll also bring up the show on Netflix, Sex Education. I think is very much that type of thing.
Yeah.
For the current generation.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll transition.
Since he spoiled my double feature.
Well, Steven always talks about this movie. Damn it.
Yeah.
Now, does that one have a Blu-ray?
It's only got a DVD.
I was gonna say, I feel like I only see that on DVD.
I've only ever seen it on that too.
It's definitely one I've been championing to get a Blu-ray upgrade for a long time. So my double feature pick is Charlie Bartlett. Very similar premise in the sense of its thematic thing, like where in this film you have Charlie, who is a kid from privilege. You know, he's from a rich family, but his father is in prison. And he's gotten kicked out of every private school that he's been to. So, but he has this overwhelming sense. And, you know, this is kind of the contrast between this and Pump Up the Volume, is that, you know, Christian Slater's character is a lot more of a recluse. You know, he doesn't want to interact with people. He only knows how to interact with people through his voice and not having to see the people. But Charlie very much likes people. He likes to talk to people. He wants to be around people. He wants to help people. But he just doesn't know how to deal with his issues. He wants to help people, but doesn't want to help himself. And so in this film, he gets kicked out of basically every private school he's ever been to. And then he finally has to go to public school. And at this public school, the principal is Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. This is like right as he's about to be Iron Man. I think
Yeah, that's
this film,
like, wasn't that 2008?
it's the same year Iron Man came out.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
was same year Tropic Thunder, Iron Man. Yeah, like he was
yeah,
blowing up at that time.
he really was about to just burst back into the scene, and so he's the principal, very much a supporting role. He's not he's in the movie. He's not the main focus, but his daughter goes to the school as well and is played by Kat Denning. Also, of course, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
And if I haven't said it yet, of course, Charlie Bartlett's played by Anton Yelchin, the late great. Unfortunately, we lost him. And a kind of a fun fact: he was born. Me and him share exactly the same birthday. We're the same age, same day, everything.
Crazy.
So yeah.
Was that his? Was he in much before that? Was that kind of his breakout?
I think
role?
he might have been.
I feel
in
like he was in some when he was younger and some stuff.
I think Andrew will check it, but I believe he definitely was.
He
in
was.
A few
I know
things.
he was in a television series called Huff, I think. He had done some other things, like some television work, it looks like, and a lot of TV series when he was like a young kid. Ironically, I think 2 years after that movie came out was when the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie came out.
Yeah.
He was an Alpha Dog from 2006.
Yes, Alpha. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's
he
the
was
one
in
I
the
feel
TV
like
series
I first
Huff.
saw him in.
Yeah, he was in Huff from 2004 to 2006, and that was a TV series. I think that starred Hank Azaria, and Oliver Platt, actors like that. But yeah, he had done a few things before then. But then, of course, right after that, like I said, Star Trek came out, and his
I
career kind of
love
took off from there.
the A24 movie he did, Green Room.
Green Room's
yeah,
great.
that was one of his last.
Yeah.
Same director is that Blue Ruin. The same director. I can't think of the
Jeremy Saulnier.
Yeah.
Did you all see Thoroughbreds?
I did.
I didn't see
movie.
it. No.
That was a good. I think that was his last movie, and that one came out after he passed away. I think
that was his last movie, and it came out after he passed. That was like that's like a dark, kind of like a dark comedy.
It's kind of it was weird. The ending was definitely kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, what is that? What is this exactly?
That movie, that movie has. Yes, came out in 2017. Has Anya Taylor-Joy,
and Olivia Cook.
And that was before Anya Taylor-Joy is now obviously much more of a household name than she was before.
Yeah, they were both kind of getting ready to break out, I think, as stars.
But Charlie Bartlett, so he goes on to meet with Kat Denning. They kind of start to have a thing. But really, the whole thing that comes from this is that kind of really pairs good with Pump Up the Volume is that he starts to use his connection because he gets sent to a therapist all the time, and how doctors are, they like to write out prescriptions for medicine. And so what he does is he starts to have these therapy sessions with kids in this school. He uses the one of the bathrooms. Kids will go into the stall next to him. They talk about things, and then he reads up on what their symptoms are and tries to figure out and he uses their issues and then goes and pretends to have them issues with his doctor. They prescribe something. He brings it back and gives it to the people in the school. Of course, in a way, this is very irresponsible, obviously.
It is drug trafficking.
It is drug trafficking. I'm not condoning his actions, but at the core, what he wants to do is help people.
Our big takeaway tonight is that you condone drug trafficking.
Yes, exactly. I'm all about giving drugs to people without anybody's consent. Yeah. But so he does that through the movie, and it goes and has its ups and downs. And then I don't want to I'm not going to tell you the whole movie, but ultimately the big thing about these two movies that really line up for me is just that idea that people, young people listening to each other and trying to help each other, and how profound that can be, that how alike we are, from all different backgrounds. Because even in this film, there is a punk rock Mohawk type character, just like in Pump Up the Volume, where that kid was listening and listening to Christian Slater's words. There's a kid just like that, and Charlie Bartlett that bullies him and beats him up, but then becomes his like right hand man in the movie. So very similar things. We do have a couple other suggestions here. Somebody, Corey Wilkinson, had suggested "Good Morning Vietnam," which is cool DJ, good DJ comparison there. So
I
yeah,
think
I mean,
yeah, I would say Pirate Radio
Pirate Radio is another good
is another
DJ
one.
one. Yeah, but that is the double feature I have. Thank you, Andrew, for telling my double feature for
Oh,
me.
you know what it is? When you know someone for so long,
Yeah.
you can guess.
Just
You know
knew
what I
it.
mean?
Well, the thing is, you didn't guess. I told you what my double feature
Did you?
was.
Because I
I did.
completely forget. I forget so much of what Steven tells me that I have to constantly ask him the same
He
questions
has to
over and
ask
over
me
again.
things. Well, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
all right. It's fine. But
He's
that
like,
is
I
it.
knew I knew that from somewhere.
I could almost tell he was about to ruin it. That's why I
Thing
was.
is, I did not remember that you even told me. To be honest,
Yeah,
I don't.
it's
I didn't
okay.
remember it at
It's
all.
okay. It's no big deal.
I know you want to wrap up, Steven, but I don't know if you wanted to talk about recent pickups or if you want to or if you want to externate that from
Well,
the
it's up
segment.
to Ken. Ken, do you have any recent pickups you can share with us?
Yeah, I actually got my whole stack because I'm getting ready to shoot the audit
Well,
video.
I don't want you to give away your video if you got a video you're filming. So don't
No,
do
it's
that.
fine.
Please.
I can do a few new ones that I got.
Yeah.
I found a couple of cool finds yesterday. I went to it's called a game exchange.
Yeah.
I found Land of the Dead, this
Oh,
Scream
nice.
Factory
Oh,
title.
nice.
It was $5.99 with the
Steal.
slipcover still, and it was sealed, like in the plastic.
That's
And
a
then I found
steal.
the Thing as well for
Good one.
$5.99. And I already had the 4K, but I know that this has additional special features that one doesn't. And I got Stir of Echoes on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I know
Cool.
it has an imprint release, but I was like, I'll grab this. It was $3.99. So the cool thing about that place is you can get buy two get one free. And for some reason, like usually they'll take the least expensive item and make it the free one. They made the Thing the free one, so I got
Yeah.
all that for $10. So
That's
two
nice,
Scream
man.
Factory titles and Stir of Echoes. I got some Groove stuff as well. I don't know if y'all shop on Groove a
No.
lot, but they'll have some interesting picks like that you just don't see a lot anywhere else for pretty good prices. I got batteries not included.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And I think all these were $5.99, so they got really good prices. Children of Men.
Good
It'll
one.
probably get a 4K because I picked it up.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Steven hopes.
but-
Steven hopes.
Yes, please.
I mean, it's Warner Brothers. I mean, that's or no, Universal. It's Universal. And then the Andromeda stream I
Oh,
grabbed.
is that from the 70s?
It's from the 70s, Michael Crichton. So
Yeah.
I'd never seen this one, so I just thought it looked interesting. I like, older sci-fi movies, so thought I'd check
Cool,
it out.
man. That's good. That's good. Andrew, go ahead. Throw us. You got a couple
Let me
pickups there?
grab some stuff.
I'm still waiting on my Kino stuff.
Oh no.
I
I got mine pretty quickly. Sorry,
I was just
I'm
telling
not
Steven,
right.
I made my keynote.
I got round one quickly.
Oh, never mind. You never mind. You
I
got
hit
more.
round one, but round two I haven't got. But
I was just telling Steven, I did my purchase of that sale at the last possible second, like at 11:55 when it was about to end. So I'm not anticipating seeing that for at least a month.
yeah.
At least a month. But I did get my Indicator stuff. Indicator had their flash sale recently, or some type of sale. I don't know what was going on, but I got Scum, the film by Alan Clark, just because I saw that this was starting to run out really quickly, and I wanted to get it. I believe this was part of like the Video Nasties, and then
That's a nice box set.
yeah, and then I picked up Hammer Volume 6 because I have all of the other ones except for Volume 1, which is like super out of print and super hard to get. And this cover here with the skeletons on is pretty metal, if I have to say so myself. And I just love these box sets. They're super
Yeah,
well
that's
made,
nice.
super thick,
I haven't
super
dove
durable.
into the Indicator stuff yet.
The products
I'm
are
afraid.
fantastic.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what it is?
yeah,
You get
it's
hooked.
addicting.
That's the problem.
That's a
Yeah.
problem.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. You'll get hooked on it. And then today I got speaking of Vinegar Syndrome earlier, I got one of their partner labels, Katie International Pictures, Speaking Parts, which is their most recent release. Yeah, this came in the mail literally right before we recorded.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully my vinegar stuff's coming tomorrow. I got that notification like a couple of days ago, I think. I'm into collecting like the VSL titles that they're putting out.
Yeah.
I just think it's cool. They're doing the like old school horror movies from like the 40s and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got I think it's Cat People. Is that what it was?
It's like cat something.
It was
I don't
Cat.
think
It wasn't Cat People.
It wasn't Cat People, but and then the other one was Flesh and Fantasy.
Cat Lady or something. Yeah, I got Flesh and Fantasy.
Yeah.
And then there was the other like prehistoric one, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember what the heck that was. But yeah,
Awesome, man.
Steven?
I got a couple. I did get one of the most recent Radiance releases, Man on the Roof, Blind by, but Radiance has been hard to argue with.
Oh, yeah.
I've liked a lot of what I've seen so far, so this will be another great first watch. Maybe we'll be on an episode. Yeah, there you go. There's another.
Yeah, I got Welcome to Dollhouse because
Yeah.
Welcome to the Dollhouse. This was selling out really, really quickly. So if you can still snag this out
yeah, I
there,
need to
people,
get
I
that
would.
one. I just watched the Sunday Woman
Oh, nice.
the other
Yeah,
night. It was good. I liked it. It had those giallo vibes, and I like those kind of movies.
cool. Another one. This one, we're actually going to have the guys from this new label, Treasured Films, on soon. The Last Hunter. This is their first release. This is like one of them non-exploitation films, so I'll be excited to check this one out. It's got a great little setup here.
Who put that
Art,
out?
it's a new label called Treasured Films.
My goodness,
This
that's
is
a
their
nice box set too.
yeah.
I think I think that's
it's
their first
solid.
release.
It is. Yeah, it's their first release. It's got art
Damn.
cards. It's got a book. It's
Out of the
nice.
gate swinging.
Yeah. So keep an eye on them. And like I said, we'll have them on the guys from there on for an interview here in the near future. And the last one I'll share with you is one I got from 88 Films. I have seen this one. I love the film. Christopher Lee. If I could say her name, I would say it. But The Whip in the Body.
Nice.
That's a cover.
It's a great. Well, yeah, it's a great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's great, and it's a fantastic film. It's a lot about, trauma. Her having kind of a PTSD experience with her family, a family member. It's good. I don't want to. It's kind of one of the movies you just need to watch, but really great film from 88 Films. Yeah, so that's it for the first episode of the Unwatched Pile. Ken, once again, thank you for taking the time to join us. You're a busy
Absolutely,
man. So please.
I appreciate the offer.
Of course, man. Anytime you want to come back on, just let us know. We, of course, if you ever have the time, which you probably don't because you're already doing some of the same things we do on our normal show, Chasing Labels, which is talking announcements. But if anytime you feel like you'd like to come on, just let us know. And
Absolutely.
Yeah. So please
Absolutely.
tell everybody the places to go to interact with you.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, Mid-Level Media. You can subscribe to me over there. I'm also on Instagram quite a bit. I'd say that's probably my secondary platform. I spend a lot of time on Instagram. Twitter, I go there just to post like what I did recently, and then I just hop on out
Then you're
because
out.
I don't want to spend too much time there.
Yeah.
And then Letterbox and TikTok as well. I'm on TikTok. I try to keep up with the TikTok, but it definitely gets difficult with everything else.
Yeah, it's
So,
too much. It's too much.
yeah.
Andrew, where can you be found?
You can find me on Twitter at Capzilla06, as well as our YouTube channel, Chasing Labels.
You're here right now. You're there.
We're here right now. I was just going to say that. I thought it would be too meta, but I guess not.
It's okay. It's okay. You can find me on Facebook, Stephen Billings, or at the other Chasing Labels pages, whether it's our Twitter, our Instagram. I'm on Letterboxd as well over there at Stephen Billings. Of course, please go check out our regular podcast, Chasing Labels. That has a podcast form, and then we usually have an interview a week with somebody in and around the industry of Blu-rays and boutique labels. And we usually do the interview portion as a video. We put it on our YouTube page. So please go check all that out. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And of course, just like our tag at the end of Chasing Labels, keep on watching the movies, especially the blind buys.
I know I will.